Hello, my dear friends. I wanted to speak today about family scenarios. And when it has a negative connotation, people say a family curse. Why is it a curse and what is this? When we're growing up, we are affected by the social environment, and in that case, it's our family. Besides that, we're going to school, of course, the main influence comes from our parents, our mom, dad, uncles, aunts, grandparents, and also our siblings. So how is it happening? When we are looking around as children, we see constant things going on around us. For example, we see the certain behavior of our dad, certain behavior of our mom, and since humans are creatures of habits, it's coming all the time, pretty much the same thing, because if we are used to something, we tend to act same exact way. Maybe some details are changing, but we could see, for example, that in my case, my dad was quite dominant. He was someone who was able to abuse the family, and it was like financial abuse when my father collected pretty much all the money in the family and wouldn't give anything. And my mom was a working mom. She was also someone who would take care of kids in the proper way. She would cook, clean, do all the stuff. And my father was actually kind of forcing her to spend all of her money first, and later on, when we needed something from him, he would just refuse to give everything, to pay for something. It was like, for me, it was really hard that to get this money from my dad. And I can tell you, I know what it means to be poor, what it means to be helpless when you're coming out from the apartment. You don't have a phone on you, you don't have any money on you. And my dad was not a poor man. He was making pretty good money. However, he was putting me in this constant situation when I was just totally helpless. And I could see that it was always going on in his life. He was from the childhood like this, and I could see how my mom was struggling. And at this exact moment, I understood that I don't want it in my life, and I started acting absolutely different way. This way, I was actually able to break that family curse, to understand that money, it's something that comes easy to my life. I was able to earn money myself. I was able to find boyfriends, partners, and also my husband, who is extremely caring man, extremely kind man. So this is a pretty successful situation when I was actually able to find new resources. I was able to actually rebuild my conscious part of my mind and start a new life. But for example, if I'm a victim of this situation, if I'm afraid to get out of my comfort zone, if I'm afraid to even think that there are other guys who are kind, who are generous, who are like can take care of me, comfort me, I would probably find someone who is also very dominant, mean, who is yelling at me all the time. So I was able to break this family curse. However, when you don't realize what's going on in your life exactly, when you don't know that even when you don't know about family scenarios, how they work, you can probably stay in this situation forever. I'm talking about for example, you're looking for someone who is exactly the same like your parent, and of course you getting the question in your mind, like, for example, if I struggled so much, if I was in pain so much, if someone hurt me in my family, how how come I'm not looking for something the opposite? And I'm telling you, I work with people a lot, and I see sometimes that people understand logically that it's great to meet someone who actually shows love, shows warmth to you. However, it's not always easy because we are kind of programmed by our parents, and we are going to something that looks familiar to us. For example, and also we don't even realize that these people are dangerous. This is not normal to live in this toxic situations. And I also wanted to bring up as an example this wonderful show, White Lotus. In the second season, you could see that those three relatives, a very creepy grandfather, also very unfaithful father who was always cheating on his wife and paying for sex all the time, and also he was at the same time feeling very guilty, and their son and grandson, and all those Italian guys, they looked exactly the same and they acted in a very similar way. And those people who remember the whole season, you saw that grandson was actually very much against this type of behavior when men are actually highly sexual, they're always cheating, because he was good son and he could see that his mom was always crying on the phone, always complaining about that. However, later on he got into the same trap. He became like a victim of that family scenario. And you could see that he was doing it because he wasn't able to actually break that curse, when we say like father, like dad. And he had this biologically, he was blessed with his sexuality, he liked women a lot, and of course he was feeling bad about his mom. However, he was looking for exactly the same, and he was accusing his granddad being creepy, he was accusing his father being so unfaithful to his mom. However, he was just going right back to this unfortunate situation. I would say he was kind man, he was naive, quite infantile, and do I say it right actually, infantile or infantile? I don't remember exactly, sorry for my English. So he was behaving like a kid because he was basically living on the family's money. They went to this extra luxurious resort and he was spending money of his dad, of his grandfather, and he was at the same time accusing them. For those people who want to change their life completely, you have to find this inner spine, you have to find the power, resources, and actually cut this connection. I'm talking about partially cut this connection, this codependence with your family, and actually start living by yourself. And of course it's great to be born a child with a golden spoon in your mouth, but it's better when you're using your own intelligence, your own skills to earn the money. This way you're gonna be able not just be always in your family, interacting them the entire time. You're gonna be able to actually taste something better, and you're gonna see the benefits of the life when you're living by yourself. You can make your own choices. And of course, our parents don't mean to do something wrong for us. A lot of times they don't even say anything like behave like me, act like me, not at all. A lot of times they simply just a visual example influencing us so strongly, so we are not able to do it like all at once. And I saw even in my own life that when I call my mom, she would always say something like this: you gotta be careful, guys are so bad, they're gonna take advantage of you, you have to find like blah 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 blah. And I could see that she also excluded that possibility that there are a lot of great potential partners around her, and she was kind of, I would say, even brainwashing me. And later on it was hard for me to get separated. So, and I understood that I have to take responsibility for my life in my own hands and use my own brains, my own mind, and build a new relationship and find a new scenario for myself. And it's also not so it's not so great when you actually accusing people, accusing your mom in your fault, in your failures, because it means that you're just simply dishonest to yourself and you're afraid to take this responsibility. But I'm encouraging you guys to take advantage of all of this opportunity that we have around. Don't just be focused on the past, and find a new ability to actually see the world in a different light. That was my story, and I also used the example from this wonderful show. Let's move on and to details, because our life scenario consists of many things, and it's some small habits that we inherit from our parents, maybe bigger traditions, and the overall attitude towards money, sexuality, family. I'm talking about like overall kind of important parts of our lives. And I could see myself, for example, my mom, when I was growing up, she was always like putting makeup. She liked to look beautiful, and I was always admiring it, and I kind of copied her. And she was a great role model at that in that situation. And probably you have those habits that you intentionally or not intentionally just inherited from your parents. Um, for example, in your family, everyone was smoking, and you knew that it was kind of normal. I also had a client that she said for her it was normal to actually to bring boyfriend to her family, even though she was super young. She was like 15 years old, and it was normal for her to actually start her sexual life at a pretty early age, because parents were also kind of not supporting it, but they were not so like strict about her being virgin. And she actually got pregnant also very early. It was 16 or 17, she told me, and she got her kid like very early. I'm not against it at all, but I'm just showing you guys how she was copying her mom, because her mom got her at 16 years old. This way, this life program is working from one generation to another. I also saw a situation almost the same like in White Lotus. When I was growing up, we had neighbors, and I could see that there were 3 women living there. There was a daughter, grandmother, and daughter, grandmother, and mother. And they looked like each other, acted in a very similar way. And I never saw that adult women like grandmother and mother had any type of I've never seen them with men. And when the girl grew up, she started dating someone, and she got pregnant, and she got a little daughter. And later on, she divorced that guy, and it was like already not 3 years, but it was already a quadruplet kind of living in the same apartment. And I could see that the influence of grandma, her mother, was so strong, and the girl was doing the same exact thing. She couldn't create like a healthy relationship. And even though she was very pretty, and I could see she had this guy who was like pretty caring, pretty nice and kind, however, it didn't work out. And I don't think it's like coincidence. What do you think, guys? I think it was like almost like something that you would expect. So this is how we are being formed by our parents, but there is a huge chance that you're gonna be able to create something new. I would like to actually find out what kind of examples you have regarding that subject. Being a hypnotherapist, I work with a lot of people, and I could see that they have this type of difficulties in their lives. And if you need a consultation, you can always address it to me, we can work together. But shortly, I wanted to remind you, so you have to be honest with yourself and see that you want to have a different life, because sometimes people growing up in the denial, they don't really understand their desires. And later on, the older you get, the harder it becomes to actually find a new path in your life. Of course, it's possible, but when we're growing up, our habits becoming very, very strong. I'm encouraging you guys, always work on your self-awareness and always question yourself. What do I want in this life? And sometimes we think that we want it, but for some reason it's hard for us to convince ourselves like, yes, I can obtain it. We think it's some type of like a curse, it's not possible, it's not for me to be happy, because in our family all women, all men were unhappy in their marriages. So if you have a difficulty, you have to rebuild your mind, and it works very well when you using hypnotherapy, because during hypnotherapy sessions we are working with subconscious mind, and in the subconscious mind we have those not so visible beliefs that we have to break down. You can also do your own self-therapy, make a list of what you'd like to work on, and also break those beliefs that don't help you in your life. And the more detailed work you're gonna do, the better understanding you're gonna get what you really want, and you're gonna be able to see that you're able to obtain something new in your life. But like I said earlier, if you need your help, you can always talk to me, you can comment, question me below this video. Otherwise, I was pretty much everything that I wanted to tell you guys. I'll see you in my next video. You have a wonderful day.